Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to PM with Kim, y'all. A marvelous and magnificent Monday evening to you. Whew, I hope your day was just that marvelous and magnificent, and that you are making your way through traffic or you have made it home and all is well in your mind, body, and spirit, and that God is keeping you on your side of town or your side of the world. I pray that all is good in your world. All is well in my world. My day was quiet. I was off today and my day was quiet. I did a few things on the computer, just, piddled. Nothing special. I am relaxed. I nodded off in my chair once or twice. And it was a good day. It was quiet. And I like quiet. But, sometimes quiet becomes a lot. Nevertheless, I'll take quiet over chaos. So, thank you, God. I'm not complaining. But welcome back to PM with Kim, to all of my regulars. Thank you all for those of you who see it fit to circle back around and sit with me as I run my mouth sometimes. And welcome aboard to those people who are just joining me on this journey. This is my evening inspiration. And where I hope to share some nuggets of wisdom that are going to bless your soul some kind of way. And that if it doesn't directly speak to you, that it could be something that you could share with somebody else to bless them. So thank you for coming and sitting with me, and let me keep you for a little bit. I'm going to try not to hold you long. But I do have wanted to talk about some things. I talked about this one girl, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. As I was saying this morning, Mondays are my mental and emotional health Mondays. So I try to focus these evening messages so that it's consistent. There's a flow. And so my Mondays are my mental and emotional health Mondays. And since I was talking this morning, I had started out talking about my pastor's anniversary celebration, and I was pondering the message yesterday from the pastor who was the guest preacher for our church in honor of our pastor, and he just he talked about the life of a pastor and the things that they have to go through. And a lot of times we often we kind of, I guess if we're being real honest, we kind of put capes on the pastors. We put them on a pedestal, and we expect and require a lot out of them, and we forget that they are men and women before they are anything else. Before there is any title or any letters after their name, they are a man or a woman who bleeds just like you and me, who hurt just like you and me. Yet we oftentimes impose ourselves upon them like they are required to be at our beck and call. Are they? Is their calling special? Yes. God called them to a special place to pastor, and when they pastor, it requires a lot of sacrifice. It does. However, this message is not for the pastors. It's to appreciate and lift up the amount of work that the pastors do. But this message is for the parishioners, for the flock who sit under those pastors, and what it is that you should be doing to build up your pastor. Because guess what? They go through a lot. And I think about how I, put my phone on Do Not Disturb. They can't put their phone on Do Not Disturb. They on call 24/7. Unless they, get things worked out with their, their staff, their associate ministers, assistant pastors, and so forth and so on, to be away on scheduled vacations and all that. But they're never away. Even when they're away, they're never away. And so if you think about the magnitude of that alone, that's a lot of emotional stuff for them to have to carry. Always on call. Always at the beck and call of folk who sometimes call them for nonsense. Yeah, I said it. I'm gonna call my pastor. Call Jesus first. And then if you need your pastor, call them. But let's make sure that we are honoring and respecting what they do. Because here's the deal. everybody. Here's the deal. Most pastors, unless you know, like mega whatever, most pastors work. A lot of them work. I don't know. I'm just going to throw out a number here. I haven't done any research, so don't hold me to this. But I'm going to say 80% of pastors work. Whether it's full-time, part-time, they work. And so not only are they on call as a pastor all the time, they also have work. Some of the level of the work that the pastors do as their career, their profession, is draining. So here you have this person who has to take on the whole concerns of their flock, right? And then they work. And so whatever demands that they have on their job have to be balanced. And then they have families. And guess what? Families, what? They go through crises and stuff. And they got to carry that. And then guess what? They're individual humans who have stuff that they have to carry. And so imagine, you got this weight here, 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 and they're carrying 4 or 5 boulders of responsibilities every day. That's heavy. That is heavy to manage. And yet they do it with a smile when they might be smiling at you now and say, hey brother, hey sister, and they were crying behind those closed doors before they even got there, because they have the heaviness in their heart and their soul, because they're carrying all our stuff. And so we have a responsibility to pour into our pastors. If you sit and you really take an inventory of what they do and how they have to do it, you will really change your perspective. You will really leave them alone sometimes for petty mess that you can handle on your own, or take it to an assistant somebody, or take it to the deacon or the deaconess or whatever leader. You don't always have to run to your pastor for everything. Learn the structure, learn the hierarchy. You don't have to run to him or her for every single thing. Leave them alone. And then here's the deal. I'm going to say this too. When they are on vacation, on scheduled time, leave them alone. Whoever they have put in charge, that is who you go to. That is who you go to. And then if something is grave enough for the pastor have to be notified, then that person in charge will notify them. But leave the pastors alone when they have to get a minute to recharge. They need more than a minute to recharge. They are handling a lot. They are holding a lot. And they walk and sometimes carry it like ain't no big deal. But that's just the shield and the armor that they have to carry, because that's part of their calling. And so people who think, oh, yeah, he a pastor, she a pastor, or glamorize. Yeah, some of it might be nice. Some of it might come with some perks. Some of it might whatever else. But it is a job. It is a weighty heart and mind responsibility. Having to be responsible for all of these people and having to carry stuff and process stuff on top of their own stuff. And I think, one of the things that if I can help you to understand, to get a visual picture of the magnitude, think about the movies. When you see those movies and they're the Catholic priests and they go into the confessional, that's what it is. And the priest is on one side, and then there's the screen there, and then the person on the other side, and they're telling, just offloading. And then the preachers over here tell them how many the Hail Mary is to do and the whatever. But think about that. They sit here and we sit here and we just shooting information. And they're, they ain't, and they're processing it and they're carrying it and they're living with it and they're giving back of themselves to help you be lifted up and built up. But what are you doing to lift up and build them up? And that's the whole point of my message, because they go through stuff. They need support. They need prayer. They need lifting up, just like you and I do. But too many times, people always run into them for the answer, for help, but never stop to say, hey, Pastor, is there anything I can do for you? Or even if you don't say, hey, Pastor, is there anything I can do for you? You can watch and see and say, oh, you know what? He needs this or she needs this. I'm going to do it. I don't need to ask permission. I'm going to go ahead and do it. That is what they need. They need people who can quietly support them without even having to be asked, or they have people who have the heart to say, hey, what is it that I can do for you? Because they carry a lot. They carry a lot. And that's a special calling. I don't want that. God bless the pastors. I don't want that. That's a lot. That is a lot. And those who do it, and they do it with fidelity, and they do it with their whole heart and soul, God bless you. May the Lord shine his face upon you every day and pour out his love and his strength upon you, because that is a weighty responsibility. And so for my people out here who are in those churches, who are sitting under your pastors, here's the deal. I need you to start being intentional, if you're not already, about blessing your pastor. And not for October, for a clergy appreciation month, and not for the one time every year when they come upon their anniversary. You should be blessing your pastors all year long. You should be praying for your pastors every day. You should be blessing and honoring them all through the year, because what they do is a 365-day, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week calling, responsibility, weight that they walk and they carry, in addition to life in their own worlds and in their own lives and their jobs and so forth. So I came upon this book. I was introduced to it in the early 2000s as a professional development when I was teaching, and it blessed my soul. I'm already a natural motivator, encourager. I'm gonna pour into people as much as I can, but this helped to really give me a platform in which I could share in layman's terms to teachers and so forth about this concept. And the book is called How Full Is Your Bucket? And I got it as a Ph.D. as a teacher, but then when I became an assistant principal, I made it a point to incorporate this so that people can understand the whole idea of bucket filling. So the whole idea of the book is how full is your bucket? So all of us have a bucket, right? And there are people who are bucket fillers. And they're the ones who are the encouragers, the motivators, the ones who are saying kind things, the ones who are doing kind things, the ones who are supporting, the ones who are being intentional about being good to people. And then you have the bucket dippers. They're the ones who dipping from people's bucket. I need this. I need that. Can you do this? Can you do that? And they're dipping. And they're dipping from the buckets. And so I want to give this so that you can put this in your mind as it relates to your pastor and in your life, your family, your spouse, your children, your job. This is a concept that we can apply in our lives every day. It's sort of on the lines of professional development. It's sort of parallel to the 5 love languages of relationships. So it's just another way that you can honor people that you come into contact with. But I thought this was fitting for, as I talk about honoring your pastor. So think about it. Your pastor has a bucket, right? We all have our buckets. We all have a bucket. Your pastor's bucket is a little bit bigger, right? And the oil, their anointing is the oil from God, right? And God pours out in excess into the pastor's bucket because he knows that their oil is going to be required a lot more than yours or mine, right? And so God pours out extra oil into the bucket of the pastor. And then what the pastor does is they take that oil and they pour it out. Every Sunday when they're giving those messages, they pouring out from that oil on those weekly, bi-weekly Bible studies. They pouring out that oil when they visiting the sick and the shut-in. They pouring out that oil when they're caught, trying to get out of church and somebody's like, oh, Pastor, can I tell you this? They pouring out that oil every chance that they can get. And guess what? Beyond pastoral things, they pouring out that oil on their family. They pouring out that oil on their friends. They're pouring out that oil on their co-workers. And so if they're pouring this oil, and God is continually pouring the oil back into their bucket because they know that he or she is pouring it out every day. And God is pouring it back in, and then they're pouring it out every day. And we're getting it poured on us. And we take it freely like it's something that we're supposed to get. You ain't entitled to it. But they're honoring their calling, and so they pour it out. And too many of us take it as if it's a rite of passage, and we run. We forget about the fact that that oil needs to be replenished. And so I say to you, stop. Be more of a bucket filler. Fill your pastor's bucket than the times that you dip. Yes, you're going to have to dip from your pastor's bucket sometimes because life is going to life and you're going to need them sometimes. Yes, you will. And that's quite all right. And they understand that and they meet it with love and honor. However, try to, if you have to dip twice, try to pour back twice. And pouring back means I'm praying for you. And you don't have to announce, oh, Pastor, I prayed for you last night. Just do it. Just do it. Make it intentional. Put it in your phone. You on that phone any other time you think. Set a reminder in your phone during your lunch break to say a prayer for your pastor. That's how you pour back into their bucket. Bless your pastor with a card every now and then with a little extra gift attached to it. That's how you pour back into your pastor. You see your pastor, hey, pastor, is there anything I can do for you? And most of the time they're going to tell you no, even though the answer is yes. They're going to be like, oh, no, I'm good. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Sister Kim. But you just pour it back in because you showed that you cared, because you even just asked. And then you pour back in by seeing the need in the church and doing it. You're pouring back into their bucket. And so every time you have to dip from them, pour back in. And that is how you keep your pastors built up and strengthened. And that is how pastors can have, for my pastor, 16-year longevity and beyond, and 20 and 30 and so forth, because they have people who are not just dipping from their bucket, but they're pouring back in. They're pouring back in. And it is our responsibility to pour back into our pastors, to pray for them, to be there for them, to pick up the slack, and to do what we need to do to help balance them out, because they have a whole lot more going on behind the scenes. And a lot of them go home, and to the pastors who are single, they go home and they processing a lot of this stuff by themselves. They don't even have anybody, they might have people that they could, bounce stuff off of, but they carrying that load by themselves. And then you have the pastors who do have wives or husbands, and but sometimes they don't even feel like I can't even, I can't put that on them, and they still carrying stuff on their own. So they're imagine all of that in your head, all of that in your heart, and it's every day, and it's just coming at you every day. That emotionally is a lot. That will tax anybody's mental health. And so if we as their flock are not pouring back into their bucket and always dipping while God pours out extra oil into their bucket is going to run dry eventually. And some people, unfortunately, walk away and like, I ain't going to do this no more. And that is a sad thing, because that means that the people that they served didn't serve them. And so it is your duty and your responsibility. If you think about it, when you go through your new members course, and the pastor and the leaders map out the things that you need to know about the Word of God and all of the special things and the things of the church and the beliefs and the visions and the, all of those things. There is a part in there where we as the flock have a responsibility to love on our pastors, to support them, to lift them up, to do what it is we need to do to ensure that they can continue doing what they do And if we're not doing that, we're failing them. We're failing them. So if you are not an active bucket filler, and you are more of a bucket dipper from your pastor, I need you to shift. And I need you to remember and be mindful that every time you dip from your pastor, you must pour back in. Every time you dip, you must pour back in, because his or her oil is going to run low. And shame on you, shame on me, if we're not doing our part to ensure that they are being lifted up and built up. And, one of the things I can leave you with, and I can't even remember where it is, but I think it might be in Exodus or somewhere. But Moses, when they were fighting, and as long as Moses' hands were lifted up, they were winning. They were winning. So your pastor is your Moses. And then as soon as his hands dropped, they would lose. And so Aaron and Hur, I think it was Aaron and Hur, got a stone for Moses to sit on. He sat on it. And then they held up his hands so that one is here and one is here, holding up his hands, so that as long as his hands are held up, the battle is being won. And we are the Aaron and Hurs for our pastors. And shame on you if you're not holding up their hands, because as long as you're holding up their hands, they can fight. As long as you're pouring into their bucket, they can keep pouring back out, that they so graciously and beautifully do. So you be your Aaron and your Hur, and you hold up your pastor's hands, so that he or she can fight every day, and that they can be their best selves to love on you and to pray for you and to cover you and to be there for you at all hours of the night and day. Pray for your pastors. Love on your pastors. Bless your pastors at every chance that you can get. Speak life over your pastors. Be available for your pastors. If you're one of the ones that when your pastor say, hey, Sister Kim, can you do so-and-so? And you be like, oh, no, Pastor, I can't. If you have the audacity to tell your pastor no when they need your help, then I'm going to need you probably just go on somewhere and sit on down. I said it. Yeah, I said it. It's my platform. I can do that. Be ready and available at all times to support your pastor, as he or she is ready and available at all times to pour out into your life and to support you and to be there for you and your family at all hours of the night and day at any cost, even while they're walking in the midst of their stuff and their heaviness and in their tiredness and in their fumes, because most of them work off of fumes. And so shame on you if you're not pouring back in. And if you're not, and you just hadn't thought about it, I hope I gave you something to think about. I hope I gave you something to think about so that you can be intentional about how you bless your pastor. It's not hard. It just requires a heart and a mind to say, I'm going to meet this need. I'm going to be a blessing. And some people might not even thought about it. Maybe I hope I illuminated it for you enough for you to understand the magnitude of their walk and the stuff that they have to endure. So I hope I have helped you to shift in your perspective, and then ultimately move in your actions to fill your pastor's bucket. And yes, it's okay for you to dip. Sometimes you're going to have to, but make sure that you're an equal filler when you're dipping. So that's it. That's all, y'all. I hope I helped you. God bless every pastor out there. God bless you from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. And I pray that you are surrounded with people who are going to love on you, people who are going to hold your hands up so that you can fight this fight, people who are going to support you, people who are going to be there for you when you need somebody to be there for you. So God bless every pastor under the sound of my voice. Pass this on to your pastors. Share it so that they can be encouraged. And just keep holding on and keep on keeping on, pastors. God is pleased. He is pleased. He is pleased. And take care of yourselves, pastors, mentally, emotionally, physically, so that you can be your best. And when you have to step away to care for yourself, Do it unapologetically. Put the weight on your associates, assistants, your deacons, your deaconess. Let them man the field when you need them to man the field. And retreat when you need to retreat. Rest when you need to rest. Refuel, revive, and renew so that you can be your best self, and keep on fighting every day, armored up and prayed up. And we're going to do our part as your flock to carry you and to be what you need for us to be so that you can be your best self. That's it, y'all. God bless you all. I pray that the rest of your evening is richly blessed. I pray that when you lay down tonight, that you will, that your sleep will be peaceful and restful and sweet, and that the hand of God will rest upon you all night long, and that the angels will encamp around your home, and keeping you and everybody in it safe from any hurt, harm, or danger, and that when you awaken tomorrow, you will awaken refreshed, revived, renewed, and ready to run on to see what your Tuesday will be. And please set a reminder in your phone to pray for your pastor every day. And if you don't need a reminder because you do it anyway, God bless you. Keep on doing it because they need it. Whew. And then I hope that your day tomorrow will be terrific, and that you'll circle back around tomorrow to sit with me for AM with Kim, and that all will be well. I pray that today you were better today than you were yesterday, and that tomorrow you'll be even better than you were today. And just go and be great, be marvelous and magnificent for the rest of your evening. And just take care of yourself too. Take care of yourself too. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace that guards your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, and everything about you in Christ Jesus. Yes, Lord. Ha! Come on. Woo! And may the love of God cover you from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. And may he pour out the oil over your life that you need. The blessings and the favor and the grace and the mercy and the peace and the love and all of the needs that you have and some of the things that you want. Say thank you to God, and remember your pastors. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings from my heart to yours. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a good night, and don't forget me in the AM. All right. See you tomorrow.